Okay.
How do we reduce our county's debt? $49 million. How would you like to have that tossed in your lap? Do I really want this job? It's going to be a great challenge. But I read something just yesterday morning that got my attention. It doesn't matter how much we raise your taxes as long as these guys continue to spend. The spending's got to stop first. Then you talk about lowering taxes. Families are overburdened. We know they are. We've got too many employees doing nothing. We've got agencies that aren't accountable for what they spend. And people sit behind a desk. I plan to get out and get into those agencies, review what they've spent, what was it for, how did they pay for it, who's related to who on the payrolls, and be an obvious guy that's there. Here comes Commish. We best have some answers for him, because I'm going to ask the questions. For example, how many people work in a jail? I wanted to know. I wanted to get in there. I couldn't get in. I was refused to get into jail by the commissioners because a colonel, a retired colonel Marine, was a security risk. Hard to believe. This is America. So when you talk about the debt and reducing it, you've got to start with paying your bills. And you have to do those. All of the rest is chaff. And you pick away equally from each agency and you trim them down to where they're supposed to be. Thank you.
Joe, I think I can arrange for you to get into the jail. We'll talk later, okay? I mean permanently. Look, I'm not sure what that spending... look, as far as reducing the county's debt, all your county debt is fully funded. It's funded, there's ability to repay it. When I took office in 2000, there was a substantial sum of debt there at the time for a county office building, a revaluation, a county parking garage, various senior centers, things like that. Those are things that the county has done over the years. The debt that I've incurred since I've been there have been investments. They've been investments in water and sewer, in business parks, investments that will help us build our future, that will help our children and grandchildren stay here in jobs. And that's why the debt that I've taken on has truly been a long-term investment. All these projects will outlive me by many, many years. They will stay there. They will continue to produce dividends to future generations. Many of us here have a mortgage on our home. We use debt to invest in long-term assets. That's what your county's done over the years. We have continuously reduced spending over years by eliminating employees. The county has nearly 30 less full-time employees today than it did in the year 2000, at a time when workloads are increasing. So your county debt is really a factor of investments into our future. The county has about $32 million in debt, and that debt will continue to be serviced until 2029. Thank you.
As far as the internal structure, as to what's already bonded and out there, it's pretty much dictated, I would assume, with the embedded regulations within those bond issues. So that's what's kind of scary as we walk into a setting such as that, someone from the outside moving in. One of the things I would like to see would be to watch spending in the future, and that's what we would have control over if placed in office. You know, I've been talking to quite a few people about different things, and one of the things they talked about was, well, how could they offset what we already got charged extra this past year in the raising of our taxes? And a couple of people have come to me and said, you know, we have that hotel tax, and that's something that Jimmy and a bunch of them have gotten involved with over the years. I don't know what that percentage is. I think it's 3%. They said, well, why don't we make that 6%? Because when we go to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and all around the country on vacation, we pay upwards of 12%. And that would maybe bring in a larger sum of money to help us with paying the bills within the county. Slowing down, the grants are good. They go out to businesses and they go to all kinds of good opportunities to help people in the community. But in order to help the largest part of the community, maybe it needs to go back totally into the coffers of this group. My promise would be, as he mentioned earlier, we make promises as politicians, would be to work hard at trying to keep that incurring more expenses and at the same time being able to maybe come up with some new ideas in order to offset raising the budgets. Thank you.
I have some ways we help reduce the county budget, which in turn could free up money to help reduce the county's debt. One thing, we've been beaten up real badly here by some of the candidates about the debt the county has and about refinancing the bonds. But I want to tell you people something. When we refinance those bonds, every time those bonds are refinanced, that is an economic benefit to people in this county. You're talking the last bond refund we did saved the county almost $100,000 that you would have never seen, that you would have had to pay, that the county would have had to pay through your taxes. So that's one way the county has reduced its debt. And I know it doesn't sound right, but that's what happens. When you refinance those bonds, you reduce the county's debt. Some of the other things we've done. You know, we have, since Jimmy and Pam have been there, not so much since I, but they've cut 30 positions since they've been there. You know, we've asked our employees to take cuts in their health care. They've actually started to pay a portion of their health care, which they've never done before. And now, this year, it went up 2% more for them to pay that. We raised the deductible in the health care for a single family person from $100 to $500, and for a family from $200 to $1,000. And I know that some of you pay more than that, but I'm telling you, for these employees in this county that only make $14,000 a year, some of them, that was a major strain on their budget. Another thing we could do is cut down expenses at the jail. One of the things we suggested on Friday at our CJAP meeting was to use electronic monitoring. Instead of putting all these people in the jail, let them out with an electronic monitor. We could also use alternative sentencing, like community service. And one thing we've done, some of the police departments have sent some of the officers to crisis intervention team, and they are going to be able to separate some of these MHMR people that should not be placed in the jail. We would place them in other housing somewhere else in the county in an MHMR facility, which would save the county money. Thank you.
I am going to address the debt question, but I, as an employer, can't let some of the statements that we heard earlier just go by unaddressed. Number one, the commissioners did not prevent anyone from going through the county jail. We have strict security procedures, and our deputy warden, Adele Bauer, followed security procedures. Members of the public are not permitted to take tours of our jail. It is a security risk, and she was simply doing her job. Secondly, I've heard this said on the campaign trail, and I am not going to let it go unaddressed. If you work for the County of Somerset, please raise your hand. There are many good people who work for the County of Somerset. We have dedicated elected officials and many of our employees in many of our offices. It is, I guess, the thing to do today to criticize those who have chosen public service as their profession. We have many hardworking individuals who have made both state and county government their chosen profession. And I take offense, and I'm sure they do too, for anyone who would say that they are sitting around doing nothing. County government is an important part of our local economy. It provides an important function. And I will not sit here today or throughout this campaign and allow our county employees to be insulted by someone on the outside looking in. As far as the debt, I think both Jim and John have addressed the debt service issue. Our outstanding debt that it has constantly been referred to, I look at as investment. I have a list of our bond issues and the projects that they have financed. They range from senior centers to infrastructure investments to enhanced 911 communication. They are long-term investments. Bond issues are how county government, state government, any municipal government finances long-term projects. Thank you very much.
Folks, I got a lot to say, very little time to say it. We cut 30 positions, but we increased the budget by 10.6% from last year to this year. Okay? Also, a statement that was made. Everybody has a residential mortgage. That's true, most people do. But keep in mind, you have the ability to go out and create wealth to pay off that mortgage, each and every one of you. The county doesn't. They tax. They tax. Mike Duke from Walmart made 2 statements in the last month. He's the CEO of Walmart. The first statement he made, I'm going to talk fast so I can get this in. He said, folks, inflation is going higher, prices will go higher. He issued it on the news networks. A week and a half ago, Duke said this, our shoppers are running out of money and we're concerned. We've had 7 quarters in a row of decreasing revenue at Walmart. What's it telling you, folks? It's telling you this. Inflation is coming, and it's coming hard. Okay? It's going to cost you more and more and more and more money to live. Oil, they're predicting to be $200 a barrel by the end of the year. Okay? In a letter to the editor I wrote last year, at the end of the year, watch oil, watch food, watch commodities. Every commodity has hit highs in January. Corn, wheat, rice, it's over and over. Okay, now let me tie it back into the question. We have to quit spending. We have to quit spending. We increased the budget by 10.6%. We levied a 20% tax increase on a county with 50% of the people that's 60 years old or more. Give or take, we might be 55%, whatever it is. 15 seconds. I got so much more to say, but we have to quit spending, and we got to redo the debt. I have the bond issues. We're tying into some very funky financing. You can see it at the end of the meeting.